Hello, everyone. Have you ever felt the need to downplay your dreams? Have you ever caught yourself saying, I'm sorry, I just want more out of life? If so, you're not alone, but it's time to stop apologizing. From a young age, we're conditioned to be polite, to not rock the boat, to be grateful for what we have. And yes, gratitude is powerful, but somewhere along the way, gratitude got twisted into guilt. Somewhere along the way, wanting more became something to be ashamed of, especially if you're the one reaching higher while others around you stay content. But let's be honest, growth has never come from comfort zones. History was never changed by people who settled. Legacies weren't built by those who kept their heads down and didn't dare to dream louder. Every innovator, every trailblazer, every icon who ever made a mark on this world wanted more, and they refused to apologize for it. So why should you? Why should you shrink your voice, your vision, your value just to make others comfortable? Why should you suppress your hunger just because it challenges someone else's complacency? Let's be clear, wanting more doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you're alive. It means you refuse to settle for a life of just enough when you were born for overflow. It means you see a higher version of yourself and you're ready to reach for it. But here's the catch, society will try to shame you for it. They'll say you're too ambitious, too driven, too different. And that word too is how people try to limit what they don't understand. But listen carefully, you are not too much, you're just more than they've seen before. This message is not just for dreamers, it's for anyone who's ever been made to feel guilty for wanting better, better opportunities, better income, better health, better relationships, better days. This is for the ones who've been told be realistic when deep down they knew they were born to rise beyond limits. In this four-part journey, we'll break down the mindset that makes people apologize for wanting more. We'll dive into the truth behind ambition, challenge the false humility that keeps people small, and build the kind of confidence that no longer says sorry for desiring greatness. Because the truth is this, you don't need permission to want more. You need courage to go get it. And starting today, you stop apologizing. You stop hiding. You stop shrinking. You start rising. You start reaching. You start owning your ambition without fear, without guilt, and without ever saying sorry again. Let's set the record straight. Wanting more doesn't make you greedy. It makes you aware of your potential. It means you recognize there's more to who you are, what you can do, and what life has to offer. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. But too often, especially in environments where people are taught to just be thankful, anyone who dares to want more is seen as arrogant. If you say you want a better job, you're ungrateful. If you say you want to move to a bigger city, you're abandoning your roots. If you say you want to earn more, live more, do more, people say isn't what you have enough. Let me ask you something. When did striving for better become a bad thing? We don't shame a seed for growing into a tree. We don't criticize a child for growing out of their clothes. So why do we shame ourselves for outgrowing our circumstances? Outgrowing your comfort zone, your habits, even your relationships isn't a betrayal of gratitude. It's proof that you're evolving. You see, growth is uncomfortable. It stretches you. It challenges what you've known. It forces you to say, I appreciate what got me here, but I'm not staying here. And that kind of mindset will always ruffle feathers, because not everyone around you is growing at the same pace. Some people want to stay where it's familiar, but when you choose growth, you choose transformation over tradition, and not everyone is ready for that. But you are. You're not greedy for wanting to leave that job that pays the bills, but drains your soul. You're not greedy for wanting to level up when others are content standing still. You're not greedy for wanting to build a life that feels as good as it looks. You're just done pretending that good enough is enough for you. There's a deep fear that often goes unspoken. What if people stop liking me when I start reaching higher? What if my family thinks I've changed? What if my friends feel left behind? And here's the hard truth. Some people might, but their opinion is not your purpose. You were not put on this earth to make others comfortable at the cost of your own growth. You were not created to live a life of quiet desperation just to fit in. Growth demands that you get bold. Growth demands you leave behind anything that tells you this is all you're allowed to have, because deep down you know there's more inside you, and you don't need to justify that to anyone. Let's talk about hunger, not for food, but for fulfillment. That hunger for something bigger, a greater impact, a higher level of peace, stronger influence, deeper purpose. That's not greed, that's your spirit whispering, there's more to you. That hunger is sacred, that hunger is holy, that hunger is what wakes you up in the morning, even when life is hard. That hunger is your proof that you are still alive, still striving, still in motion. Now let's flip the script. What if not wanting more is actually the problem? What if playing it small is the real selfishness? Because you're holding back your gifts from a world that needs them. Let that sink in. You see, the world doesn't need more people who apologize for having ambition. It needs people who say, I'm going to show others what's possible. Every time you grow, you give someone else permission to do the same. Every time you reach higher, you light the way for someone stuck in the dark. So today, stop calling yourself greedy for wanting more. You are expanding. You are stepping into a greater version of yourself. That's not something to apologize for. It's something to be proud of. Stand tall in your desires. Walk boldly in your calling. Speak your dreams out loud, because you're not asking for too much. You're just refusing to settle for too little. And that's growth. In a world that often celebrates humility, we've been conditioned to see ambition as arrogance. From classrooms to workplaces, many people are taught to stay in their lane, be realistic, and know their place. But here's the truth. Ambition is not something to suppress. Ambition is something to embrace. Ambition is what drives a person to break free from limitations. It's the inner fire that whispers, you were made for more than this. It's what pushes someone to go from surviving to thriving. Ambition isn't a flaw. It's your engine. It's your fuel. And when used right, it can take you farther than talent, luck, or even education. So why is it that when someone openly admits to wanting success, wealth, freedom, or greatness, they're met with judgment? Because ambition makes people uncomfortable, not because it's wrong, but because it shines a light on the places others gave up. When you say, I want to build something big, people will say you're too driven. When you say, I want to be the best, they'll say you're too competitive. But here's the thing, your ambition is not the problem. Their insecurity is. You must understand that not everyone has the same vision you do. Not everyone has the courage to want more. So when you step out and declare your ambition, you don't just speak your truth, you threaten their comfort zone. That's why ambition is often mislabeled as selfishness or ego. But let's call it what it really is. Hunger for purpose, for impact, for legacy. Think about the greatest minds in history. Those who changed the world, built empires, discovered new worlds, created revolutions, or healed generations. What did they all have in common? Unshakable ambition. They had a dream and the relentless will to pursue it, even when it made others uncomfortable. Ambition isn't about stepping on others to rise. It's about rising so you can lift others. It's about refusing to accept average in a world full of potential. When you choose ambition, you choose to become the author of your story, not a background character in someone else's. And here's a crucial truth. You don't have to apologize for wanting to win. Yes, be kind. Yes, be respectful. Yes, be grounded.
Yes.
But never let humility become an excuse for hiding your power. Ambition should not make you feel guilty. It should make you feel alone. It's not wrong to want to build wealth. You can be generous and still want abundance. It's not wrong to want a powerful platform. You can be humble and still want influence. It's not wrong to want a life that turns heads. You can be grateful and still want more. Stop telling yourself that wanting more means you're not satisfied. Satisfaction and hunger can live side by side. You can be thankful for where you are and still hungry for where you're going. That's the balance of a true achiever. Let your ambition be your compass. Let it point you in the direction of discomfort, because that's where growth happens. Let it challenge you, stretch you, and call you higher. Let it be the fuel that wakes you up early, keeps you up late, and drives you through every setback and rejection. But most of all, let your ambition speak loud and clear. I was not born to play small. I will not apologize for aiming higher. I am not afraid to want more. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your goals. You don't owe anyone silence just because your dreams make them uncomfortable. You don't owe the world an apology for being built different. Own your ambition. Speak it. Pursue it. Live it. Because ambition, when combined with heart, is one of the most powerful forces on earth. It builds legacies. It sparks change. It inspires generations. So no, ambition is not a flaw. It's your fuel. And if you learn to trust it, protect it, and follow it, it will take you exactly where you're meant to go. How many times have you held back your ideas because you didn't want to seem too much? How many times have you kept your wins quiet so you wouldn't make others uncomfortable? How often have you dimmed your light just to fit into a room that wasn't even built for you? If you're nodding your head, you're not alone. Society has trained too many of us to believe that humility means hiding, that confidence is cockiness, that playing small is noble. But the truth is this: shrinking yourself serves no one, not your family, not your friends, not your community, not the world, and especially not you. You were not created to live a life of silence, invisibility, or second guessing. You were created to take up space. You were designed to grow, shine, and stand tall in your purpose. And yet, somewhere along the way, many of us learned to tuck our ambition under the rug, to make ourselves small, to make others feel big. But here's the problem: when you shrink yourself to make others comfortable, you rob the world of your brilliance. Your gifts don't just belong to you, they belong to the people you're meant to inspire, lead, help, and heal. Every time you water yourself down, you deny others the full power of your impact. Why do we do this? Because we fear judgment. We fear being too loud, too confident, too ambitious, too successful. We don't want to look like we're showing off. We're taught that if we rise too high, we'll lose the people who once rooted for us. But let's be honest: if someone only supports you when you're small, they were never rooting for you. They were rooting for your limitation. There is no strength in playing small. There is no virtue in pretending you don't want what you truly desire. And there is no award at the end of life for how well you hid your greatness. Think about the times you inspired someone without even realizing it. Maybe someone watched you start your business. Maybe someone saw you break out of your comfort zone. Maybe someone heard you speak your truth, and suddenly, they found the courage to do the same. That's what happens when you stop shrinking. Your boldness becomes a permission slip for someone else to stop hiding. Your power gives others the courage to tap into theirs. That's how movements begin. That's how legacies are built. Not through smallness, but through unapologetic visibility. So let's rewrite the narrative. You can be proud without being arrogant. You can be successful without being selfish. You can be confident without being conceited. There is room for your greatness. There is room for your voice. There is room for your ambition. And if the room you're in tries to make you feel otherwise, you're in the wrong room. Sometimes shrinking feels safe. It keeps you from strengthening. It keeps you from criticism. But it also keeps you from everything you're capable of achieving. Playing small might protect your ego, but it kills your purpose. You weren't given a vision to keep it secret. You weren't gifted with potential to bury it beneath fear. You weren't blessed with ambition so you could tone it down. You were meant to rise. You were meant to lead. You were meant to lead. You were meant to inspire. And guess what? You don't need permission to stop shrinking. You only need a decision. A decision to stop apologizing. A decision to start walking boldly. A decision to stop editing your greatness just to make other people feel okay about their comfort zone. When you step fully into who you are, you shift everything. You change conversations. You elevate environments. You spark courage in others who've been holding themselves back, just like you used to. So no more shrinking. No more silencing your voice. No more playing small to make others feel tall. The world doesn't need a quieter you. The world needs the real you, in full volume, full strength, full purpose. Because shrinking serves no one. Somewhere along the way, society started treating the desire for more as a moral flaw. As if wanting more success, more freedom, more peace, more purpose meant you were greedy, selfish, or never satisfied. But let's make one thing very clear. Wanting more out of life is not a sin. It's a standard. It's not about entitlement. It's not about greed. It's not about looking down on where you are or who you've been. It's about refusing to settle when your soul knows you were made for more. There's nothing noble about struggling just because others expect you to. There's nothing admirable about keeping yourself in places that no longer serve you just so you can fit in. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I love my life, but I know there's another level, and I'm going after it. You see, people love to say you've changed when you raise your standards, but that's exactly the point. Growth requires change, and change requires standards. When you start to want more in how you live, love, earn, and show up, you stop accepting the bare minimum. You stop tolerating things that once drained you. You stop making excuses for staying stuck. You begin to ask, is this relationship building me or breaking me? Is this job feeding my purpose or just paying the bills? Is this version of me surviving or actually living? Those questions are powerful because they force you to measure life against your highest potential, not your current condition. And that's when transformation begins. Let's be real. Wanting more doesn't mean you're ungrateful. Gratitude and growth are not enemies. You can love where you are and still believe in where you're going. In fact, the most grateful people often desire more because they understand how valuable life is and how much more it can offer when you live intentionally. So don't let anyone guilt you into playing small by saying, be thankful. You are thankful, but you also believe in progress. You are content, but you refuse to be complacent. Wanting more is not about chasing perfection. It's about striving for alignment. It's about making sure your outer world matches your inner truth. It's about refusing to sleepwalk through life when you were born to lead, love, build, and break barriers. Think about this. Why do we praise athletes who train harder to be the best? Why do we admire entrepreneurs who risk it all to build their dream? Why do we celebrate people who pull themselves out of hard situations and create a better future? Because they wanted more, and they didn't apologize for it. They set a new standard, and then they became that standard. And so can you. Wanting more means you expect more from yourself, more discipline, more focus, more purpose, more joy, more excellence. It's a refusal to coast. It's a commitment to evolve. And most importantly, it's a declaration that average will never be your finish line. Now let's get even more personal. Wanting more might mean cutting off people who keep you small. It might mean walking away from a safe life and risking everything for a fulfilling one. It might mean grinding in silence while others laugh, doubt, or walk away. But let them go. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand you. Because one day they'll look back and realize you weren't arrogant. You were on assignment. You weren't selfish. You were selective about your energy. You weren't too ambitious. You were too focused to settle. Your desire for more is not enough. It's your soul pulling you toward a version of life you haven't lived yet. It's your future calling, and you have every right to answer it. So raise your standards, raise your voice, raise your life. Want more, expect more, become more, because more is not a sin. It's your new standard. You've heard it all your life. Be grateful, stay humble, don't be too much, don't want too much. Today that ends. Today you stop shrinking to fit spaces that were never meant for your greatness. Today you stop whispering your dreams like they're shameful secrets. Today you stop saying sorry every time you want more from life, because wanting more doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you aware of your potential, aware of your power, aware of the purpose buried inside you that's begging to be awakened. No more apologizing for your ambition. No more silencing your vision. No more editing yourself just to make others comfortable. Let them call you crazy. Let them say you've changed. Let them misunderstand your drive. Because at the end of the day, you don't owe them comfort. You owe yourself a life fully lived. A life that breaks limits, that honors your calling, that stretches far beyond the boxes others tried to put you in. So stand tall, dream big, move bold, and never, not once apologize for the fire inside you. Because that fire, it's not too much. It's exactly what you need to light the way. And the world is whoa. Soul. Go give it to them, unapologetically. Thunk.